Claire sat alone at the decorated table in the restaurant, surrounded by twinkling Christmas lights and festive wreaths. It was Christmas Eve, and she'd been stood up. Her blind dater, ranged by a well-meaning friend, had texted 20 minutes ago with a vague excuse about a family emergency. At 29, Claire had grown used to disappointment, but being rejected on Christmas Eve in a restaurant full of happy couples and families stung more than usual. She was gathering her coat to leave when a little girl appeared beside her table. She wore a red velvet dress with a white collar and carried a teddy bear wearing a Santa hat. She couldn't have been more than 5 years old, with blonde hair and pigtails. "Hi," the little girl said, her voice small but determined. "Are you sad?" Claire managed a smile. "A little bit, but I'm okay. You look pretty, like a princess." "Green is my favorite color." "Thank you, sweetheart." "That's very kind." Claire glanced around. "Where are your parents?" The little girl pointed to a table near the window where a man sat alone, looking at his phone with a worried expression. "That's my daddy. His date didn't come either. We're both sad. I'm sorry to hear that." "Are you waiting for someone?" "I was, but he's not coming." The little girl's face brightened. "Maybe you could have dinner with us. Then nobody has to be alone on Christmas." "Sweetie, I don't think. Please." Daddy said Christmas is about not being alone. And you're alone. And we're alone. So maybe we should be alone together. The simple logic was hard to argue with. Claire looked over at the man who had now noticed his daughter talking to a stranger and was hurrying over. "Emma." "I'm so sorry," he said, approaching the table. He was tall, maybe in his mid-30s, wearing a dark suit. Handsome, with kind eyes that looked tired. "I told her to stay at our table while I checked my messages." "It's okay," Claire said. She was just being friendly. "Daddy." She got stood up too. "Her date didn't come, just like yours. She should have Christmas dinner with us, so nobody's sad." The man Emma's father looked mortified. "Emma, you can't just invite strangers to." He stopped, really looking at Claire for the first time. "Wait, were you supposed to meet someone named David?" Claire felt her stomach sink. "Yes, David Chan." "How did you?" "I'm Ethan Chan. David is my brother." Ethan ran his hand through his hair. "Let me guess. He texted you about 20 minutes ago with an excuse. A family emergency," he said. "There's no emergency. He canceled because my sister called and told him his date was a kindergarten teacher with student loan debt who drove an old car. She convinced him you were a gold digger trying to trap him." Ethan's jaw was tight with anger. "I just found out when he texted me, bragging about dodging a bullet." Claire felt her face flushed with humiliation. "I should go." "No, please." Ethan's voice was gentle. "My brother is an idiot, and my sister is a snob, and I'm embarrassed to be related to either of them right now." He glanced at Emma, who was watching hopefully. "Would you consider having dinner with us? Not as a date, just as 3 people who deserve better than to spend Christmas Eve alone." Claire looked at Emma's hopeful face, then at Ethan's kind eyes, and found herself nodding. "Okay. Yes. Thank you." Emma clapped her hands with delight. "Yay. Now Christmas is good again." They moved to Ethan's larger table by the window. As they settled in, Claire learned that Ethan was a widower. His wife had died in a car accident 3 years ago when Emma was 2. This is our first Christmas where Emma's old enough to really understand that her mom isn't coming back. Ethan explained quietly while Emma colored on the kids' menu. "I thought maybe having a nice dinner out would make it easier. Then my date canceled too. I'm sorry about your wife and about your terrible relatives." Ethan smiled. "My brother and sister weren't always terrible. Wealth changed them. Our father built a successful tech company, and they forgot what it's like to struggle. They forgot that value isn't measured by bank accounts. Okay, you seem different from them. Okay, try to be. Doesn't always work." Ethan looked at Emma, "But having her reminds me what actually matters. Through dinner." Emma chattered away, telling Claire about her kindergarten class, her teacher, Miss Rodriguez, and her best friend, who had a dog named Pickles. "Do you have a dog?" Emma asked Claire. "No, but I have a cat named Mr. Whiskers." "That's a funny name. He has very impressive whiskers. They're quite distinguished." Emma giggled. "You're funny. I like you. I like you too." After dinner, as they waited for dessert, Emma looked at Claire seriously. "Can I ask you something?" "Of course. Daddy needs someone to help him not be sad. And I need someone to braid my hair because Daddy doesn't know how. And we need someone to make Christmas not lonely." Emma took a deep breath. "Can you be my new mom?" The restaurant seemed to go silent. Ethan's face went red. "Emma, you can't just ask someone, but I asked Santa for a new mommy for Christmas. And he sent her. Look, she's pretty and nice and she likes cats. And she wasn't supposed to be here, but she is. That's magic." Claire felt tears prick her eyes. This sweet little girl who'd lost her mother was so desperate for a family that she was asking a complete stranger. "Emma," Claire said gently, "I'm very honored that you asked. But being a mommy is something that takes time. You have to get to know someone first." "How much time?" "Well, that depends." Emma looked at her father. "Daddy, can Claire come to our house for Christmas tomorrow? Then we can start getting to know her." Ethan looked at Claire apologetically. "You don't have to actually," Claire interrupted. "I don't have any plans tomorrow. I was going to spend it alone with Mr. Whiskers. If you're serious about the invitation, I'd love to come." Ethan's expression softened with relief. "We'd love to have you. Fair warning, I'm a terrible cook, so it'll probably be frozen lasagna and store-bought cookies. Sounds perfect to me." Christmas morning, Claire showed up at Ethan's house with Mr. Whiskers in a carrier and a bag of presents she'd frantically bought that morning. Emma squealed with delight when she met the cat and immediately declared him part of the family. Over the next few months, Claire became a regular presence in their lives. She taught Emma how to braid hair and helped with homework. She and Ethan talked late into the night about everything and nothing. Slowly, carefully, they built something real. "I need to tell you something," Ethan said, 6 months after that Christmas Eve dinner. "When Emma asked if you could be her new mom, I was horrified. But part of me, a big part, was hoping you'd say yes. I'd been watching you all evening, seeing how kind you were to my daughter. How you didn't judge me for being a widower or her for being so forward. And I thought, this is someone special." "Ethan, let me finish. I know it's fast. I know people will say we're rushing. But Claire, I watched my wife die. I learned that time isn't guaranteed. And I don't want to waste the time I have being cautious when I've found something extraordinary." He pulled out a small box. "My daughter asked if you could be her mom. Now I'm asking if you'll be my wife. Will you marry us? Will you be the family we've been missing?" Claire said yes through happy tears. At their wedding, Emma was the flower girl, taking her job very seriously. In her toast at the reception, she said, "I asked Santa for a new mommy for Christmas, but what I got was even better. I got Claire, who chose to be my mommy even though she didn't have to. She could have left that restaurant, but she stayed. She could have said no to Christmas dinner, but she said yes. And now she's saying yes to being our family forever. That's better than any present Santa could bring." Years later, when Emma was older, she asked Claire about that Christmas Eve. "Did you know Daddy and I would become your family when I first asked if you could be my mom?" Claire smiled. "No, sweetheart. I just knew you were a little girl who needed kindness, and your dad was a good man who'd been dealt a hard hand. I said yes to dinner because it felt right. Everything that came after that was us choosing each other, one day at a time." Do you ever think about the date who stood you up? Sometimes, but only to thank him. If he'd shown up, I wouldn't have met you and your dad. His rejection led me to my real family. Sometimes being stood up leads to being found. Sometimes a little girl's Christmas wish becomes everyone's answered prayer. Sometimes the worst Christmas Eve becomes the beginning of the best life. And sometimes saying yes to dinner with strangers is saying yes to everything you've been looking for. If this story touched your heart, like, and share it. Subscribe for more stories about chosen families and Christmas miracles. Leave a comment about unexpected moments that changed your life. Your stories inspire us all.